When you have the kind of voice described as the greatest tenor of your time, does that choose you? I mean, was it inevitable that you were going to be a singer because you were gifted with this instrument?
Well, I don't know that I have that kind of instrument. The thing is, you know, I love singing because of my parents being singers, yeah, and myself studying to be a musician, you know. And I just happened to sing. I didn't know. I was not aware of the instrument that I had.
When did you know, though, that it was special? When somebody said to you, young man, you have talent?
Well, I started singing with my parents, and I started really starting to feel that perhaps I could, I was, after all, maybe I was called by the world of singing, yeah, rather than only by the playing the piano or conducting, which I was preparing myself. I cannot say exactly when was the real moment, but I remember my parents, I used to help them a lot because I was conducting the chorus backstage. I was helping to put the music in the musical stands for the orchestra. And then some of the chorus members, and they pushed me one day just to sing a little something on the stage. And I started singing, and it was a surprise to my parents. And I was singing in one of the pieces, which of course I knew then, you know.
Your debut, even at the Met, was somewhat of a surprise, wasn't it? I mean, didn't?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, it was.
You were only 27 years old.
Yeah, it was a little bit of anticipated. I was going to make my debut in any case 4 days later.
Yeah.
But it has to happen that way. That's history already for me. Yeah. That a great tenor that evening canceled, and I have to rush. You know, I was living then in Teaneck, New Jersey, and I have to run away and just cross the bridge and be at the Metropolitan.
You got the call the same day? I mean,
oh yes,
that afternoon.
Yes, that afternoon I have been rehearsing at the Met. Yeah. Already.
And you went home?
And I went home, and I arrived, and the performance was unusually, because always is in time. The Met performances are always on time, so that evening we started at 8:20 because I arrived late, you know. Yeah. They just called me in the last moment, very last moment.
Yeah. You, when you sing, and we're all fascinated by anyone who does something remarkably well, what is it what has the most influence? Is it the music? Is it the character you're playing? Is it the lyrics that you are saying? What is it that controls most of all the performance?
It is really the combination of the three different things. Because sometimes, of course, you feel inclined sometimes in a particular work where the strongest point it might be the dramatic aspect of the character, and then yet in another moments you find that purely the vocal line of that particular phrase on that particular aria is really what you like, or even sometimes few words, the way you have to deliver that text, and especially if you are singing in the country, then they can understand you. You are singing for the public, then they understand the language, and then you particularly want to deliver that particular phrase because it's so important, and it's really, it makes a big impact into the public. But I think that basically I try for the combination of the three things in most of the works. You know, it is quite unusual to do just a work that the dramatic aspect is not important. I rather don't do that opera, you know, anymore, because I think that I need to feel involved, you know, on the character on the stage and deliver with the music what it is, that role.
What does your ear hear? Do you hear your voice?
It is a phenomenon that one cannot describe, because really, yes, you are supposed to hear the sound that you are going to make before it comes out of your throat, but you really don't. You think, you imagine, you know.
You imagine what it sounds like.
You imagine how it has to sound, but of course you don't. Then you hear it at the moment it's out, but obviously you have to prepare it, you know. You have to prepare it, and most of the times you are successful, you know.
How far ahead are you thinking in terms of the lyric?
The lyric is something that it comes automatic. It's very strange, you know. If you think ahead of the lyrics, in a work that is so familiar to you, like it could be for me Cavaradossi in Tosca, or Otello, or a role that I have done more than 100 times. So, and if I start to think about the text very much ahead, I will probably make a mistake. I don't think of the text. I only think of the text if I am very new in a part. When I'm doing a part that is very new for me, then in between my lines, I try to remember something. Otherwise, I never think, because I start to doubt then. Even the easiest thing, something that I have done many, many times, if I start to think, what is the text? Probably I say, no, it's not that. That's a mistake. I'm doing something wrong, So I never think. I just leave it spontaneous. The text just comes at the moment and the music comes.
Conducting, does it give you the same pleasure?
Oh, it is absolutely the same pleasure, but it is a different one,
How is it different?
It is different because, first of all, I believe it's more tiring conducting. It's greater responsibility because you have to have a maximum concentration, because if you don't have the shape of a performance, from beginning to end, then it's not going to work. And you have to have it, and you have to do it. And singing is difficult. It's more difficult, believe me. It's more difficult than conducting. Yeah. But it is only you. You have to worry only about you in that evening. Yeah. It's only one thing. It is for you to do the best you can, of course, with everybody else and everything. Yeah. But as
you only worry about your own performance.
Responsibility, you just have to think about yourself. But conducting, you have to be thinking about everybody. You have to anticipate mistakes. You have to help singers when you find that somebody might be in difficulty.
How do you help them?
Well, you can help them sometimes with a more brisky tempo,
I see.
with a slower phrase, in order to, you can enlarge the phrase of the orchestra in order for the singer to have more time to breathe, and there are different things that you can do.
When you're singing, you're looking where? Are you looking at the conductor, or are you looking into the eyes of...
No, when I'm singing, I try, first of all, I try to look in the eyes of my partner, if he's a lady that I'm singing with love.
Looking for inspiration.
Yes, or somebody that I'm hating, if it's the baritone, I'd like to make him feel. But generally speaking, you are singing for the public, you are singing for somebody out there, which you cannot fix, It will be wrong, it will be just like looking to the camera right now,
seeing an inanimate object.
So you have the camera there, but you are not looking like this, you are not searching. So it's the same with the public. You are looking to this big camera, this, thousands of eyes, and they are there, and you are just singing and just performing and doing a character.
Are German operas harder on the voice? Wagner?
No, I think that it is only you have to have the voice to sing it. And rather than have the voice, I believe what I have done in my career is to sing with color, to know how to color it, Because
what does that mean?
I like to, just like a painter has all the colors in the palette, and then you are doing it never exists.
Color and texture.
A really blue that is so blue, you have to do it between blue and a little bit of green and a little bit of yellow, and then you put the three colors, and then really you have the blue that you want. You never have, so it is the same with the voice. You have the very lyric repertoire, you have the dramatic repertoire, then you have the Wagnerian repertoire, which is the Helden repertoire, what they call. And I think that when you have to be able is to be able to color with the voice. To color with the voice, because that allows me to do, for instance, I was doing the 29th of December, I was singing Siegmund in Vienna. And that's a Helden tenor, that's a Wagnerian part. And then 2 days later, the 31st of December, I was doing a concert in Frankfurt. And I started the concert singing Dallas Apache, which is a Mozart aria, which is very light. It's a contrast. It's totally the contrast. And I enjoyed very much that in a concert, to be able to sing, for instance, in the first part, I might do parts of Elixir of Love, and then I'm doing Otello, or I do Pagliacci, or I do Traviata, and I do L'Amico Fritz, and I change the lyric to the dramatic repertoire, because I believe that is the healthiest thing for me, I sing coloring. I haven't been pushing in order to do the dramatic repertoire, or The only thing is to color. And the very special thing is this. If you want to do a dramatic part, you better sound like a very light tenor when you wake up in the morning. Because from there you can build, you know.
Yeah.
If you really sound light, you can build something. If you sound like a dramatic tenor or like a baritone when you wake up in the morning, you cannot sing anything, you know.
Yes.
If the voice is light, then you can build and you can color accordingly and you can make everything happen.
Laurence Olivier saw you in Othello and recalls, came from Zeffirelli. He said, you realize, Olivier said, that Domingo plays Othello as well as I do, and he has that voice. This is Zeffirelli saying, he was furious, but of course furious in the sense of admiration. Did you meet Othello? Did you meet Olivier? Did he ever tell you about your performance?
Yes, he told me, and I was very thrilled because, of course, I mean, we have admired tremendously all his portraits of the Shakespearean roles and the great actor that he was. And for him to be talking about my Othello was really very...
And your acting and the
very
dramatic
thrilling.
element of it.
It was very thrilling, yes.
How was the so-called feud with Pavarotti settled? What happened?
I still don't understand the situation. You know, I think it has been more a kind of the
Press.
the media and the press doing it that really us having anything to do with. You know, I think that when you are on that pressure of performing and so many years of career, and I think that we have very much admiration for each other.
Yeah.
And that's...
From one professional to another.
Yeah, that's what it happened, and you can appreciate more somebody that is doing the same thing than you do, and you can admire him, you know, like anybody else, more than anybody else.
There must have been some competition, some rivalry, because you're at the top of the totem pole.
Yeah, of
you know,
course.
and the higher up you go.
The thing is, you see it in everything. You see it in,
of course,
in
that's
basketball
my point.
games.
Yes,
you see it in tennis.
Everybody wants to be number one.
Yes, I mean, you don't settle. I mean, if somebody... You hope you can be number one. You don't say that I'm number one. You hope you want to... You don't settle to be number 2 or number 10, for that matter. I mean, you want to be number one in anything you do in life, you know?
Yes.
And you hope that you can achieve. So then it's for the public to say it, you know? So it is useless. I mean, if you feel that yourself you are 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, you just have to let the public judge. And the public is the one that...
But was there ever any words exchanged? Nothing, no, nobody ever said anything. It was just
never,
people on along.
Never, you know, some things they were said in the newspaper and the press office, they were saying this, the newspaper, they were saying that. We had never have anything direct, really.
When was Three Tenor?
Three Tenors was on the 7th of July in 1990. In Caracalla.
And how did you feel about that?
Oh, that was an amazing evening. That was extraordinary evening. It was really, more than anything, we are great fans of football, soccer.
Right,
you know, I
soccer,
love it so
yes.
much. You know, I can, and I'm looking forward for the World Cup in the United States next year, as a matter of fact. And we want to do it with the spirit of the sport, with the spirit of everybody, all the nations, being together around the world, and you know, we want to do this concert, and it happens that way. Then it comes after this big mega success, you know, which it has been, and it was such a friendly and wonderful evening. We were really breathing. When Luciano was singing, Jose and me, we were breathing with him, and vice versa.
You were breathing with him?
Yes, you know, just trying to, you know, trying
to push the sound out?
It's just like when somebody's bowling and, you know, and you just make like this to the ball because it's going, you know, so you just want to direct, or somebody is playing the tennis and you go with him. So it's the same thing, you know. When he was singing, we were there. When I was singing, they were both there. And, you know, we were really encouraging each other.
Are there female voices that inspire you uniquely well? Are there favorites for you that have somehow tapped the best into you?
I have been very lucky in my career because I tell you, I sang with everyone. With everyone. At the beginning of my career, I was still lucky to catch the tail of the career of Lily Pons. Actually, she sang her last operatic performance with me. She sang a Lucia, which was my first Lucia. Then, of course, I happened into a great generation of sopranos, like Leontine Price, like John Sutherland, you know, Renata Tebaldi,
Right.
you know, to mention. And then also, at the beginning starts Montserrat Caballé, and then Mirella Freni and Renata Scotto. And then all the young generation, the youngest generation, like Kiriti Kanowa, and just little by little, from somebody that certainly was before, much before my time, like Lily Pons, and people then they were there.
And those that are just coming
few
into their
years
own, right.
ahead, like Leontine
Right.
and Sutherland and Birgit Nilsson, you know, then to go into great people that has been the people that there are of the same generation, and now I'm able to sing still with the young generation, with the singers and they are just starting their career, with girls and there are 25, 27, 28, baritons, you know. It's really wonderful to see. So I just cannot say it, I just cannot name really one person because it would be unfair.
How long can you do it? How long do you want to do it?
I want to do it as long as I feel vocally healthy. I'm going to sing, and if I am believable on the stage as a character, I think that you have to combine both things. I believe that I will be able, maybe, like I'm feeling now, perhaps I could sing another 8, 10 years, I don't know.
And then conduct?
Well, conduct, yes. I'm combining more and more my conducting because I.
So even when you stop singing, you'll conduct.
Yes, and I am very much into the administrative
Right.
part of the theater. I am a music advisor of the opera in Los Angeles, and together with Peter Hemmings, we have created a company which is very, very important now. We are in our 6th year. Opera is happening in Los Angeles, and I think I'm very, very much very happy to be involved and to be able to discuss with Peters about productions, about producers, about conductors, about the cast, about singers' performances. It's something that is in my blood, it's something that I have been living, and it's no doubt that I will be living in the theater always. When I will sing, I will conduct, and when I will conduct, I will be there advising, I will be there administrating. I don't know, but I know that I have to be in the theater all the rest of my life.